PD Beats here from Pop Turner, speaking with Jessy Yates about Pulse, which is streaming now worldwide on Netflix. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I am stoked to be here, and I'm stoked to be talking about maybe my favorite show ever, which is Pulse.
Absolutely. It's gonna always be a crazy surreal feeling, right? Where you go work on something, you wrap it, it's out of your hands, and now it's in the world's hands, right? On Netflix. Like it's been
Yeah, we
crazy.
wrapped like months, like 8 months ago, so it's the world's baby now. It's not ours.
Absolutely. I find it interesting, right? Because before you kind of, dive into something like this, there's a lot of different preparations. The preparation for this for your character was specific, right? Because I believe there
Yeah.
was some shadowing involved and a lot of research and preparation in that regard, right?
Yeah. So I play an a second year emergency medicine resident. And I'm also a wheelchair user.
Yeah.
So the showrunners were so awesome about making sure that A, from the jump of writing the show, that they were getting input from other physicians who use chairs.
Yes.
Um, but in that, they made a relationship with a doctor named Daniel Grossman, who is an emergency medicine attending out of Mayo Clinic. And I got to go shadow him, did a shift at Mayo. And he's a doctor who uses a chair. He was injured maybe 5, 6 years ago. Um, and it was so eye-opening to see how he interfaced with patients, how the things that he needed to adapt both physically, but then where his disability came up socially, where
Mhm.
it impacted his patient care, where it benefited his patient care. And I don't know that I could have done the job had I
Yes.
not seen that, because trying to fit kind of a round peg in a square hole, which is a disability in a hospital where
Yes.
things are built for a certain height. I mean, all of our props and stuff are regular hospital equipment, except for like the scalpels. We kind of dull those, which probably for the best. But you know, that's built for a standing
Mhm.
person. It's for even things like the computers are
Yep.
built for standing, walking, talking. And
Absolutely.
to try to figure out how that's all going to work was tricky, but we never glossed over it. We kind of went into it, whole hog, which I'm so thankful for.
Well, that's my next kind of follow-up question about this as well, because yes, you do mention that you are a wheelchair user, and I wanted to kind of know because it about the kind of importance and awareness, right, about disability in the workplace as well as accessibility and everything. I'm wondering
Right.
what the specific conversations were like that we're having with the showrunners in regards to that, like spreading awareness and the importance of this accessibility, because I think that's really important as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even just by nature of a character using a chair on TV,
Yep.
let alone in a hospital setting, is pretty groundbreaking. And in a hospital setting that isn't a patient, you know?
Yes.
Um, I think the show, in what it does politically, is it sort of flips the relationship of care kind of on its head, right? Like, usually people with disabilities are the people receiving care rather than the caretakers. And by having a wheelchair user who is saving lives, uh, it becomes a new dynamic that we've never seen before. And it shows like what a community, like what the disabled community is
Yes.
capable of. We're capable of so much more than I think we've ever seen or we've let ourselves see. And I think that was always an importance for the showrunner.
Yep.
They never wanted to hide it. They never wanted to pretend it wasn't there, but they also were really great about making sure that it wasn't all Harper was. I mean,
Absolutely.
most of my, through lines have nothing to do with disability. It's there, it's present, it's going to inform everything that she does in the way that disability informs everything that I do. But most of the conflict is, her sister, her like frustration, her family, all these other things that have nothing to do with her body, which I think
Absolutely.
is spot on.
Absolutely. No, I'm well said, and I'm glad we were able to talk about that because I find it's really, really important. That was something I really wanted to ask
I
in the
know.
beginning of this interview.
But
So
we've
thank
also
you.
like never really seen it, you know?
Yes,
It's
exactly
funny.
right.
I was talking to somebody before and they was like, "Oh, the disabled doctor trope is actually so common." House, there's a character who is like the other than Noah Wiley in ER was the
Yeah.
longest running character, Carrie, who uses a forearm crutch. And I was like, why aren't we actually doing this for real? So the fact that we are doing this for real is huge.
Absolutely. And then I kind of wanted to ask because that script to screen journey is really interesting, right? Because I find
Mhm.
it interesting from the idea of you get these scripts, you see these character breakdowns, what happens in the plot and everything, and then at some point you go to production on Pulse and it like you see it come to life, right? And Pulse is a medical drama, right? And like
Mhm.
right down the middle, it's got the medical kind of
Oh
component in the
yeah,
emergency rooms, and it's got, of course, spoiler alert, I
the
guess, the
drama.
drama. Exactly.
Yeah, so
How
much
was that
drama.
like seeing that kind of blend and balance of the medical aspect of it, working in a hospital with the drum and screen and then on script and seeing it transform and come to life on screen for you?
Yeah, it was really interesting because at any given time, and I think like in filming it, it was in this scene, what takes precedence? You know, like, am I putting the like what I talk about it as an actor is like what is playing in major and what is playing in minor, and is the drama in this moment, is this interpersonal drama about my relationship with this person right now, or is it the drama of, I'm giving a canthotomy, which is where I don't actually do it, but it's where a character like snips a ligament in your eye. So it's, and which are we focusing on it at any given time, and where do we turn those dials? And then something that I found really interesting in watching the edit is like, I actually didn't know which we were playing. So both had to be heightened at any given time, or on other takes, I would heighten one part, like the drama was, I have to get this chest tube in. And then other takes, I would play around with, oh, the drama is, I've done this chest tube a million times, but it's the relationship and who is in the room when I'm doing it.
Yes.
And then that's all in the edit. And
Mhm.
then the rest of the world takes that and the creatives take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect segue to my next question. It's
Mhm.
like you'll see like when I ask this, you're gonna be like, yeah, it was a perfect segue. It's almost like you know I was gonna ask because
I've gotten the list of questions ahead of time. I haven't, but
I'm wondering because you try not to do what I'm about to say, but I feel like because you want to be present in the moment as an actor, right? But are
yeah.
you ever conscious of the audience member watching Pulse while you're making it? Or is that something that happens a little bit more after you rap specifically?
Sometimes in certain jobs, I am conscious. I think honestly, from a disability lens, I think I'm protective around what stories we're taking away about my community, because so often they're either done wrong or they're just not done at all. So I think, especially when I read a script for the first time, I think sometimes from a more audience point of view, but when I'm shooting, you can't think that way,
Yeah.
because your job is to defend the character. Your job isn't to hope the audience likes you or to
Yeah.
hope the audience gets it. And the things that you think don't read it clear as day, and the things that you thought you were doing weren't the most interesting thing that you were doing. So you just never know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I do find it interesting because we do mention that we did mention in the beginning of the interview that Pulse is now streaming worldwide on Netflix, which is so exciting. And that's one of my favorite things about content these days and watching content. I'm a filmmaker as well. Is the ability to access content from around the world, right? And people are able to watch shows, from like all around the world. Like when Pulse kind of dropped on Netflix, there were people, you're probably waking up having some breakfast, and then some people across other time zones that are ahead of us watched it already and binging it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was, I mean, that's assuming that I slept the night before that it was released and I wasn't just refreshing.
Yeah.
Um, but it is really cool to be tagged in, I was gonna say Twitter, that's not a thing. In like Instagram accounts and stuff that are
Mhm.
fully in Portuguese
Yeah.
or in other languages that I don't even know how to read.
Yeah.
And it's it's kind of mind-boggling
It's the
that
Netflix effect.
something
That's
that
what
can
you're
have
talking
that
about is
reach
the
so
Netflix.
quickly.
What you're talking about is the Netflix effect, by the way, because that comes
Yeah,
up so many times when I interview someone that has a show or a movie on Netflix. It's like that is the effect. And my question was, as an actor before this, when did you start like thinking about or realizing the global kind of impact of content these days? Were there any conversations with your friends or family about it? Was it a specific show where you were like, oh wow, like we're getting viral here, like globally? Like I'm just wondering about that. Obviously Pulse is going to be on future interviews when people talk to you about this, you're going to say Pulse on
totally.
Netflix, but is there
I
anything
mean,
before
yeah.
that?
Well, I think for me, the thing that like kind of cracked open the world of like foreign cinema and foreign TV was oh my God. I'm like blanking. All of the good dramas that are coming out of Korea,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Like that because
Squid Game?
Squid Game, the movie, oh my God. I actually, it's funny, my neighbor's house across the street looks exactly like the very modern house in this movie that I'm thinking of. It is
Parasite?
yes, thank you. Oh my God.
Parasite. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like Bug, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I like seeing foreign drama. I was like, oh, there's such a big world out there.
Mhm.
And then I grew up a little bit, like refined my tastes, and I realized that I had been watching like, you know, Ron Kar-wai movies for
Mhm.
years. And subtitles never stopped the art. It like always translated and it breaks open the world. It doesn't have to be this like state-centered, like English speaking like supremacy. It's really cool to see what else is out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I don't know. I think then I didn't ever really like think that it was a thing for me. Like it just never made that connection. And then we were talking about how the release was going to happen for this show, and they were like, actually, we had to cut down on some swearing, and we
Yeah.
had to, you know, button it up a little bit. And that was because, like, there was a scene where I said the F word and I had to go back and reshoot it because they were like, oh, no, other countries have tighter or different privacy
Mhm.
and content laws. And I was like, oh, oh, so
Yeah.
that like made it very real for me and for what this reach could be.
It would be really cool to like see if you can kind of like reach out to like everyone that did your dub for your character, like in all the countries.
I know. I have seen my Spanish speaking dub. One of my best friends lives in Mexico City, and to brush up on his Spanish, he has been
Yeah.
watching it in Spanish as well as English. And he was sending me videos of my dub,
Mhm.
and I was like, I want to know what she looks like. I want to know who
Yes.
she is.
I've
Or
been I've been doing a lot of brushing up on Spanish on Duolingo right now, actually
Mhm.
too, which is crazy. But yeah, no, I'm so happy for you and the cast and the crew with Pulse Worldwide now on Netflix. Jesse, so great chatting with you. Thank you
This
so
is
much for some time.
awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you all watch Pulse and enjoy it. Enjoy the juicy drama. It's only a little gross sometimes. We cut away from the medicine often,
Yeah.
so it's a great time. I hope you enjoy it.
There's an Instagram account, right? If people want to keep update with everything, is it just your name, Jessy Yates?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It is just I'm Jessy Yates at everything, but I spell Jessy Jessy,
Yeah.
not to be confused with Jesse Usher, who is Jessie, who is one of my co-stars, and then there's also Jess Roth. So we have a litany of Jessies in the show.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Pop Turnative, youtube.com/Pop Turnative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Jessy Yates, who can catch in Pulse, streaming worldwide on Netflix, and Petey Beats, signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Turnative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Pop Turnative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.